Music expresses that which cannot be put into words, and that which cannot remain silent. Victor Hugo. Music is one of the most powerful forms of expression ever. Since the beginning of time, we have used it to commune with other people, to connect. It allows us to lay our heart bare, expressing feelings and emotions mere words cannot. Music resonates with the soul. And music, to me, is one of the most underappreciated tools in storytelling. In the medium of anime especially, people usually forget the audio part of audiovisual, and the language barrier will leave a lot of it lost on us. So the songs barely get any acknowledgement whatsoever. But those songs matter. They add so much more depth to the work by telling us more than traditional means can. It complements the story by giving us more context to chew on, and they're always an integral part of the story. Anime about making music do this, but it's usually the act of making music that they focus on, and not really the significance of those songs to the characters in the story. But when it's done right, when music intertwines with narrative, the story transcends into something truly special. And no story captures this idea better than the two new entries from Bang Dream. These two shows have taken over my life, and I have to talk about it lest I explode. I will primarily be talking about Maigo with some bits of Ave Mujica for context all throughout, so spoiler warning. And please, watch the shows. They are really good. Anyway, without further ado, let me talk about the power of song. Let's start where it all began. Ningen ni Naritai Uta was the song that bound two girls' destinies together. It's a song that represents not only the beginning, but also a gift. This song was born from a notebook Tomori uses to write down her feelings. A girl who always felt she was offbeat to everybody else, feeling alone despite being surrounded with people she would consider friends, feeling like there's something fundamental missing in her as a person. With this desire to connect, to understand and to be understood, but having no way to express that feeling. Until a girl by the name of Togawa Sakiko shows up. This spring storm of a young lady swept her off her feet, played a melody on her piano, and turned what are essentially her vent notes into lyrics. And this means so much. Tomori, for the first time in her life, after feeling like she can't express herself, finds a way to do so. I can't even begin to imagine what that must have felt like for her. Seeing Saki put the screams of her heart she's kept to herself for so long into a song. And it's a song about those feelings. This feeling of not belonging anywhere. This desire to be human. To feel and experience the same things people do. Then and there, she was bestowed a gift. The gift of song. This marks the beginning of Krychek, the band that started this whole thing. And this song resonates with the other members too, and deeply to one. Soyo is likely my favorite character in Maigo. Well, bar from Tomori, anyway. She, as my friend Toby put it so eloquently, is scheming, gatekeeping, gaslighting, girl bossing, girl failing, etc., etc. She drives most of the conflict in Maigo, as her desire to bring Krychek back inevitably clashes with literally everyone else's. In the Ame Soyo manga that covers Krychek's story from Soyo's perspective, we get to see how this song hits a sore spot for her, feeling the exact same way as Tomori does for not feeling human. Someone who is trying her damnedest to maintain this image of the perfect girl despite all of the bullshit that's clearly affecting her. all she truly wants is a place to belong in and for people to see her for who she is. But because of her difficult upbringing, the only way she knows how to maintain relationships is through wearing a facade. So of course, a song about such insecurities would resonate so deeply with her, even if she didn't want to admit that at first. Which brings me to the next song. Let's talk about Haruhikage. Haruhikage is special. This song means a lot of things to everyone involved in its creation. It's about that feeling of being alone and seeking salvation from that loneliness. The longing for connection, one so precious that it makes them feel both the deep joy and the sorrow that can come with it, and not wanting them to let go. It represents the time the members of Krychek shared together. But it's also so much more than that. To Tomori, this is her pouring her heart out into a song as she shares the feeling of finally connecting with people, experiencing the warmth and kindness of the new bond she's made. For Soyo, who has always yearned to belong and to be with people, to her their destinies being bound to one another was the greatest blessing she's ever been given. The same can be said for Taki, who has always felt the pressure of having to meet heavy expectations given to her by everyone around her. Krychek has become this place for her to just be herself, away from the shadow of her older sister. For Mutsumi, it's the same with everyone else, but this song also represents Sakiko's happiness. And as we have seen in Avi Mujika, it's something she will do anything for, even at the cost of herself. And for Saki, we find out through Avi Mujika and its manga adaptation that this song represents her bond with her late mother, the warmth and comfort she found with her and her passion for music. She, like Tomori before they met, coasted through life as the loss of her mother left her aimless, until the fateful day Morphonica, a band from her school, performed. There, the spark she lost was reignited, and she began forming the band that eventually became Krychek. But fate wasn't so kind. Krychek disbanded not long after their first performance, their falling out accompanied by nothing but the deafening sounds of falling raindrops. They all went their separate ways after that. Some time passes after Krychek won the band disbandment and a percent speedrun world record, and eventually another band is formed. Because of one pink creature, Tomori, Soyo, Taki, and a stray cat have joined together to try and do this band thing. They're a bit of a chaotic mess, but through Anon and Tomori, they eventually got on stage to perform. They struggled quite a lot with their first song. Anon's guitar playing wasn't really up to snuff, and Tomori was feeling a lot of anxiety being on stage. She was already pretty iffy with performing in the first place because of her past experiences, and the overall dissonance within the group isn't really helping either. But then, things took a turn. Because of Soyo's persistence in trying to get in contact with her, Saki has found herself with no other option than confronting her head-on. And it just so happens the day of the concert was close by. A single resolute look from Saki roused Tomori's heart once more, and she was able to sing. Then the sheer momentum of their performance carried Tomori into singing another song. It was Haruhikage. This was a surprise as it was completely unplanned, even if Arana did that sick-ass transition. And this destroys Sakiko. I mean, why wouldn't it? This was hard proof that what they had, that their band, the song that was theirs and theirs alone, was truly gone. Rarely do you have a band-girl anime, let alone a music anime, actually present an aspect of music that doesn't get acknowledged enough. Its capacity to hurt. What Haru Hikage means to each member of Crychick evolves every time it's played, and it's how this song symbolized them coming together has now become a song of parting is such tragic irony. This song haunts these girls throughout the whole story as a reminder of what once was. Their innocence, the place where they felt they truly belonged, the band that was so radiant, so invincible, is nothing but a memory. Which brings me to our final song. After the performance, this band of 5 had their falling out, but instead of the rain that accompanied Crychick's disbandment, it was the blinding light of the summer sun. Soyo was confronted by Saki later on and girl failed hard, giving up on bringing back Crychick in the process. Taki was only really in this to be with Tomori, and she didn't really understand what Tomori wanted out of the band. Rana, being Rana, saw Tomori hesitating and thought she was boring, so she left. For Anon, this band that represented her fresh start was built on nothing but a lie to her by the person she started it with. She was never needed for it to work out. And Tomori had her worst fears come true, thinking again that this was all her fault, the same way she thought she caused Crychick to disband. She grapples with her struggle to express what she feels with words, despite everything that's happened, even now, as the edges of her eyes sting and hurt, the tears won't even come out. Her wish to be human was left unfulfilled again. But then the weaver of lies, Uika, happened to sit next to her when she was in the planetarium. Uika saw the same notebook Tomori uses to write down her own feelings filled with scribbles and words and assumed they were lyrics. They spoke about songs and the power they hold. This gives Tomori the gentle nudge she needed to start moving forward again. With this newfound determination, she began to perform on stage, solo. It wasn't even a song, more like spoken poetry, but it didn't matter. All that mattered was to sing, in hopes it would reach those who she cared for so deeply. And this resonates with the audience, and to one stray cat. And so the pieces began falling into place. With each consecutive performance, little by little, each member joins her on stage. And when the final piece showed up in the crowd, Tomori didn't hesitate to drag her in. Now with everyone together and the audience at her back, all she needs to do is sing, and the rest will follow. The longing for those she cares for so deeply, the guilt of hurting them, the wish that maybe it would have been better if she was never found. She wouldn't have had to suffer through the pain of parting with them the second time. But the joy and warmth of those bonds changed her life, so why would she give them up again? She let go of them because she wasn't strong enough before, but it's not too late. She may stumble and trip again and again, but she will keep getting back up. She will break through these walls in the only way she knows how. The screams of her heart will be the bridge that will help her link their hands with hers. All the pain, all the joy and the sorrow, the memories of what once was, all piled up into a singular wish. Even if her voice grows hoarse and thin, until this song finally reaches them, she will keep singing. Uta Kotoba is the reason why I made this video. It marks the true beginning of MIGO as a band. This song evolves from this eulogy to a song of unshakable resolve. How it, and the episode it's in, culminates into this cathartic climax is a genuine marvel of writing and execution. It's this moment of real vulnerability between the characters after all the time they've had their guard up with each other. There's this acknowledgement of each other's issues and how despite that, they will stay together. It's the cliche bringing everyone together through the power of music a bit, but played so earnestly. And throughout the entire performance, Tomori had her back to the audience and facing her bandmates, making a moment that's supposedly on a stage with people watching to this intimate moment between lost people finding solace in each other. The way this entire episode plays out is so immaculately done in the way everything falls into place. Through Uika, this girl who's barely connected to these people, Tomori finds the drive to sing again. And it's through that she reaches Rana. And it was Rana that pulled Taki back in. And it's Taki's words that finally gave Tomori the courage to talk to Anon. And it's Anon's insane nerves of steel that allow her to confront Soyo into going to their performance. And it was Tomori again who gave Soyo what she and this group of 5 have been wanting this entire time. A place to belong. A place where they can breathe as much as they want. Even if they're struggling with their own issues. Even if they're lost. They'll do it all together. What this story does so well is how it so beautifully intertwines the characters with the songs they make, and how the meaning of those songs are different from character to character. And it's not just bound to its lyrical meaning. They mean something more because of the circumstances around when it was made or heard. Much like in real life. Ending with everyone a sobbing mess, including Tomori herself. She's found it. That precious thing she would shed tears for. Finally. She's become human like she wished. If you've reached this part of the video, thank you for taking the time to watch me talk about a story that has become very close to my heart. That means a lot to me. I'd also like to thank my friend Toby, who is the reason why this video even came to be. Because of his passion for Ave Maigo, it's been on my periphery for almost 2 years, and I am so glad I got into it now. And that wouldn't have happened if not for him. Thank you for giving me a story that I've come to love so much, and sorry for bugging you about the script and the edit. Go and subscribe to his channel, link down below. He has a phenomenal video about Taki, and I'm pretty sure he has a video in the works that'll come out at some point, so I'm passing the baton to him. I'd also like to thank Toy Slayer, who gave this idea for the video. This video owes its existence to your tweet. Seriously, thank you. There's also Gray and Wolfsy, who I bugged the hell out of as well. I thank y'all for your support, and I swear I'll get into Bandori as a franchise in earnest soon, because I, in fact, still haven't watched any of it other than my Ave Mujik and Maigo. This is the most ambitious video I've ever made. I put a lot of effort into the script because I was trying to top what I considered my best, which was my Girls Last Tour one. I feel like the past 2 videos I made didn't really hit that hard compared to the first one, so yeah, I'm basically just trying to surpass that, and I feel like I did. I improved in the certain parts that I wanted to improve on, writing, even the voiceovers. Yeah, the editing may be a little bit rough in certain parts, but honestly, if I kept thinking about that and trying to perfect it, this video might never come out, so I'm just gonna move forward. I did leave quite a lot of things for this video to happen too. There are so many songs from Ave Maigo that could have been part of this. Heikiten Banso, Mayoi Uta, hell, even Ichijutsu Senchu and Tanabe from the final episode of Ave Mujika could have been part of this, but I couldn't handle it as my limitations as a writer reared its ugly head on me, so yeah. Also, I really wanted to end it with Uta Kotoba, so there's that. I also wanted to talk about Ave Mujika more, but that deserves its own video at this point, and that's gonna take multiple rewatches before I even come up with something. As for future plans, who knows? I'm in my final year of college now, which, whoo boy, time flies by so fast, huh? Reality is starting to close in again, and I want to make more videos, but honestly, I still don't have that new PC, and I'd love to make more videos, even about games as well, but yeah, that'll be a while before it happens, and even then, I'll probably come up with something in the next months that I want to make a video on, so there's that. That's it. If you can bear with my insane upload schedule and want to see me yap about more stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell, share this with all your friends and all that, and I will see you all later. Peace.